Well, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of RJ's Game Builder Garage Things, where I go into Game Builder Garage and try and do some things with it. Now, if you watched last week's video, you would have known that I had gotten back to trying to fix the infinite runner aspects of it, because it wasn't really being an infinite runner, to say the least. Of course, this project kind of got sidelined for Splatoon purposes, and if you don't know, Visualized is a project that I had a huge stake in, and it's actually available for playtesters. Check the description, because it's available for PC, Mac, and Linux at this point. And yeah, and eventually Game Builder Garage once I get this series done. And where we left off yesterday was that I had started writing the code to try and make it a conveyor belt system instead of the infinite teleporter system which it was using in the past. We've had that replaced with the new system, which is not really doing that great, and it's a bit more complex and a bit hard to work with. So yeah, it's taking a bit of time to deal with, and the only thing that's really developed since the last video came out is that I've now added a thing to see where the positions are. And this is where it gets really interesting, because as you can see, it moves off screen. And in the last video, I had hypothesized that when it moves off screen, it's doing that namely to basically to go on forever, because, well, it doesn't seem like the code that's supposed to stop it to move it back and to the right, like the animations that I made a while ago showed. It's just kind of not circling around at all, and it's getting to that little odometer stage where it's like, it's getting to that auto stop point that I kind of talked about in the last video at great length, actually. And yeah, so as you can see from now, what I've done is I've added in a position counter, so you can see exactly where it is right to the current moment. And at this time, yeah, that first grass block that I had programmed and applied the code to, well, it's at negative 26.98, and it's stopped there. If I reset the code, because I'm pretty sure in editing I didn't cut it out, as you can see, it does the thing. In fact, yeah, it starts off. It stopped here because we're technically in the title screen, because I just quickly switched everything into overhead view. In fact, if you look real close, you can actually see elements of the title screen there. And yeah, continuing forward, we get to negative 8, negative 10, continues going and continues counting up, and then once it's off screen and at negative 26, it stops running. Because I believe the limit that Game Builder Garage has set is about 25 meters. And this is being counted from, I believe, the edge of the actual block itself. So yeah, from the position sensor's standpoint. So yeah, we need to fix that. We need to stop that from happening. And in the last video, I obviously hypothesized that if we went to a conveyor belt style system, this should be fixed, because, well, it'll move it back and it will stop and it will move the distance back a little bit. So yeah, so we've got this confusing piece of code, and as it turns out, this is not really working great, because as it is, in fact, actually, this is not the piece of code I'm talking about. It's more this piece of code that I'm talking about. That would be better. So what's happened is that, yeah, it's not getting to the point. It's getting to the point, but it's like not doing the thing, and it's just being kind of terrible at its job. So yeah, so we need to kind of fix this stuff a bit. And in doing so, yeah. Now, the one thing I've noticed is that, well, yeah, it's at negative 10, which is which is when it should be doing its work, and it should be kind of working and all that. But I am going to set that to -20 instead because, yeah, it seems as though it doesn't really want to work because the rest of the actual object is there. Now let's test this code out. If we press play here, let's try it out. It should hit to -20, which isn't too far away. And unfortunately, it surpasses it and doesn't really do that great. Another aspect I might do is that I made a bit of, I think I may have made an oopsie in the math, and so yeah, it has to be less than or equal to -20. So let's try that code. Okay, so this is going to take a little while, and a bit of simulation later, and well, there we go. It's moving backwards. So we're definitely seeing a huge improvement here. So yeah, now it's kind of moving backwards. Now the weird thing I just noticed is that it's starting to, is that now it just stops at -2. I also recognize that it's slightly off at an angle. So that kind of needs to be a bit fixed. And it didn't really, and although it is kind of doing its thing, it's not getting to the right, place or the right area. So what we need to do is we need to start also working on a bit of a time-based system which will stop it when it gets to a certain point in Z, which I believe I've already kind of coded in, and as it stands, so yeah. So we're going to try it here. So if it's either that or that, should work. Alright, so these are pretty small things to go by, but alright, let's try this out. By the looks of it, it's already kind of off-center. So, yeah, okay, it doesn't seem to be doing too much, really. So, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to do a bit of a jump cut, or a bit of a... I'm going to probably take a cut here and do a bit of work on getting this to work. I've got an idea already, but it's a bit complex to explain, and, you know, and even though I could probably do a motion graphic to explain it, I don't know. But I'll explain it when I get done with it. So, let's get on with it. Alright, so I've done a bit of a thing. So what I've done is I've put 2 AND gates here. So what's been happening is that because originally it was a bit of an OR gate, it was saying that, oh, it's already 0.4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it off, even though it's already just been switched on. And so it's never giving it time to get to 0.2. So what I've done is I put an AND gate, and one of them's connected to a NOT gate, which is this one actually, and it goes to this flag, which in the last video I established was the one that decides if it's going forward or backward or not. So this way we can just effectively use that for that, and if we test it out, we should see where it is, and it might need a few refinements and a few little small tweaks and fixes there, here and there, but let's see how it does. So it gets to 0.21 and makes my capture card go and kill itself, but yeah, it stops doing its thing, and yeah. So now it's kind of stopped the code, and what I am going to do, just to fix it and make sure everything works, is I am going to take this and I'm going to make this NOT gate go to the other one. I'm going to have this AND gate go to the other one as well, because unfortunately it didn't let me, because I think it's stopping itself, and remember, it does need to go to the opposite, because when it turns off it's going to definitely do quite a bit of things. So let's get to that flag, and let's try this out. So, here, it should go to -20. And okay, it starts reversing it again. So that becomes a bit of a problem. So yeah, let's fix that up. So yeah, it's a bit weird and might require a bit more fixing after that. So let's actually undo all those changes and flip it around yet again. Because I think it was mostly right, that code, but you know, things happened. And yeah, okay, it just stops. Well, it's kind of expected to, but I think it's not getting the message across that it should be moving when it stops. In fact, I am going to check. Okay, and it did seem to work out. That the code is actually kind of working and is there effectively. So yeah, that's our Z output, and it is plugged into our box's Z input. So yeah, there we go. So that should be working. By all means, it should be working. So yeah, when it gets there, so yeah, it should be getting to yeah, -20 greater than, yep, and it goes to this flag, which goes down to the multiplier thingo, and yeah, so this is kind of leaves us on a bit of a interesting note, but it's probably not going to be the end of the video here. So yeah, quite a bit is happening, and yeah, it's pretty interesting how limited these things can be, and you know, it just shows the fact that, you know, this is so limited and you really can't get away with much with it. But yeah, and yeah, because it's weird. And it's not like it tells you that it's actually doing something. As a matter of fact, I am going to do something here to kind of prove that it works, that it's actually doing its job. And I am going to put in a system that will, let's see, fancy special, and we'll put in a texture, and that will be hooked into our flag, and put it well within view of everything. And I am going to make it a bright and vibrant green, and there we go. So this way it will act as an indicator light, so when it turns on, or when the flag turns on, it should turn green, and we should be able to see it. Yep, there we go. Okay, so our flag is working, and it is turning itself on, but it's not moving. So yeah, and clearly it isn't showing signs of being wired in wrong with the flag that's actually controlling how it moves, the forward or backward flag. So yeah, the flag is on, and yeah, it's going through that NOT gate and going through the multiplier, and then that calculator is timesing it by if it's playing or not. So yeah, so calculator, yep, there's our new texture, there's our object. You know what? I think I forgot. I believe, in fact, I think I'm a bit of a dummy for this, and I think I could actually explain how I remember how this became such an issue. And this is why. If I remember right, okay, I'm going down into the textures section of the game, but I believe we're still connected to basically a free slide connector that does not want to slide for us. So yeah, if anything, we're at a blank texture, Okay. Because I need to find, let's see, where is... Because, yeah. So I know we had connected to a free slide. Huh. Okay, nope, that's what the sky is connected to. Yeah, okay. Alright, because yeah, I think behind all these textures and boxes is in fact a slide connector. In fact, I think that might have fixed our bug immediately. So, let's try it! Alright, so, getting a good strong start. Now, this is kind of a remnant of the old system then, and there we go. And congratulations! We're doing it in reverse. And, well, let's see. Let's see if it could stomach doing the other side. Oh! It came close! But we could fix that pretty easily. And yeah. And now all we have to do is change our constant. So now that we're doing pretty good here, we'll set that to 30 because that would be a pretty good, reasonable size. This might require us to add more steps to our conveyor system. So yeah, there we go. That's there, that's doing its work. And yeah, it's moving backwards. It's going a bit far, but you know what? Can't blame it. Cannot blame it at all. And when it reaches there, it goes to about 30 and shuts off and then goes back to the start. Now, this kind of now leads us to our next problem, which is the fact that, well, A, it's getting stuck on all of its little restriction blocks, as I like to call it. But yeah, the code works, but it's now a little too tolerant. So what I might have to do is I might have to slow down everything eventually. But yeah, so that's a good note to end today's video on. If you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing a lot more of this a bit in the far future. Got a lot of content really coming up that isn't really related to this. I know the next Splatfest is coming out. In my 3D printing section, my 3D printing season started because, well, it's starting to get cold out and it's kind of becoming the opportune time to do some 3D printing. So you might see some 3D printing and physical hardware related projects coming out onto the channel in the next while. But otherwise, yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video. Nice ending, and yeah. Thanks for watching, and bye.